And welcome to the Fandom Zone. And we are doing the second fandom talk. My first one was just to my fans because I was bored one day. And then I was like, I'm going to try to like make this a thing as best as I can. But you know how that goes with a daytime schedule. It's damn near impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a few minutes to kill. I didn't have a lot of minutes to really post this well or get the word out. Do the whole, the whole Twitter thing. So who knows how many people I'm gonna get to watch, but never really been about that. More of just, you know, talking for the sake of talking, just because I guess I love to hear myself talk. And with that being said, I have a special guest here on the channel who normally comes to the late night side of things, but I wanted to talk to them mainly because you had done great stuff about Booksmart, which I never knew, and I've started going back through and watching your channel. So I I actually wanted to have you on to talk about this. So
All
go
right.
ahead and introduce yourself to the wonderful people.
I'm LB. I'm a lonely man who hangs out in a dark room, talks to people through my camera on the Lonely Banter, and once again very humbled to be welcomed to the Phantom Zone by General Zod.
It's always great to have you here, man. Because I've been told you have more credible sources than I
Sometimes,
do. So, this is gonna be about an hour or so long stream that I wanted to do because it really pissed me off because I'm a fan of a great little comedy that came from left field at the time it was made. It was one of those comedies where like no one was really expecting it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's one of them things where it comes out and everyone kind of like starts to jump on board. The best way to describe it would you be word of mouth, right? It's one of them word of mouth comedies.
you talking about Booksmart?
No, super
Oh, super
bad.
bad. Oh man, like I'll have to take a look at his box office because I don't remember it. I didn't see Superbad in the theater. I didn't see it till like after it came out on Blu-ray. Because when I was working at Best Buy at the time, like when it came out, a lot of people was like there on the first day to come get it, and everyone was rushing in to get it. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then yeah, let's see what Superbad did. I know it did good at the box office, but was it like a cult following or did it? Well, it made 169 million, so no, it definitely was big at the beginning. Let's see, weekend it did 33 million, ranked number one. So yeah. It was big from the get go. So yeah, it was definitely a big movie. So and yeah, the word of mouth did good because I mean, I'm looking from the drops. It dropped 45% the second weekend, 30 and 12. Yeah, so the word of mouth was definitely good. So it did good at the theater off a $20 million budget, obviously. So yeah, it did good.
And that was the thing about this. And with any of these comedies, they're going to do good. But the question is not going to be, are they going to be good? It's, are they good or not? Because they're all, it seems, almost made on small budgets. I mean,
Right.
you don't have a high productive budget for a comedy movie typically, unless it's like something like a superhero parody or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that one with Kurt Russell that had all the superheroes that was supposed to be a comedy about an academy or something. I even forgot the name of it. It was pretty bad, but you know, it's like stuff like that. You don't tend to have a big budget, so most of them can make money. But um, the question is, what separates, like, say, a movie like Superbad or Beverly Hill Cops or them for like the 15 other generic comedies that we'll see.
Exactly. And judging from what we've seen since Superbad has come out, nothing's really changing anything. I mean, like I look at it like this. From let's see, from 2000, we had 40-Year-Old Virgin. We had Old School, and then up until Superbad, every movie was like in the vein of Old School and the 40-Year-Old Virgin, comedy wise, and like Wedding Crashes, like those movies. Everything was in that kind of style of comedy up until Superbad, and now since Superbad's like every comedy wants to. Well, I'm not gonna say every comedy, but more so the ones with the younger kids. Everyone wants to be Superbad.
And there was something about Superbad's formula that works. And I think because they hit that interesting spot between high school and college, which
Yeah,
makes the show more socially acceptable. It makes it more relevant too. Because you could go back to your high school experience and be like, yeah, I remember trying to get laid before college.
yeah, exactly.
There was something about it that made it feel like that experience uh, of the high school experience. But then now with these new movies, like okay, I want to start off with Good Boys because it's by the same writers and directors and pretty much the same crew that made Superbad. And like now, I don't know why, but I think that is like too. I don't want to say controversial, but I think that really is uh, in very bad taste, and that's coming from me. I could deal with things in bad taste, you know. Well, everyone I'm sure who watches our midnight streams know how crazy we get over there, but there's a difference between like the adult side of it and then like 8-year-old kids, man. I don't know. That just sits kind of weird to me.
Yeah, like me, I'm not even gonna say I'm a conservative. Look, I guess you could say like I have conservative values and morals with certain things. Like it just doesn't sit well with me seeing children curse and do crude things, especially that age group. Like I mean, I know I was a kid. Like kids at I wouldn't even say 8 years old, probably around fourth, fifth grade, they start to curse and all that type of stuff. But it just seeing it in movies, especially like at that younger age, like 8 years old and stuff, it just don't sit well with me.
Yeah, and that's what that's why I wanted to have you on because I know we both seen the movies. I had a feeling we had similar points of views when it came to this, but man, when I went to see Chucky and I saw like the uncut version because it's an R-rated movie, so they can re-show those clips uncut. Oh man, and LB, it was like over the top. And I mean, this is me talking. Anyone who's come on my channel, you know how I can get. But this was on some crazy shit, man. I mean, like for me to sit there and go, that's kind of too much. Like, there's a scene in the trailer where the kids are whacking each other with anal beads, and then the kid was like, "This smells like an asshole," and I'm like, oh man, that's kind of like I don't know how to feel about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
man.
yeah,
I'm just. I mean, that's one reason why like I'm not into horror stuff because for one, like it's like they seem to go and try to do anything possible to get a scare, or if it's in like the comedy style horror, they try to do anything gruesome to make you laugh, or whatever. It's just yeah. Like, what you just explained to me is just like something I don't want to see in a movie.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one thing if you're seeing like maybe adults or something like that, and you're like, oh, all right, because it's marketed for the adults. But when they show a clip for a trailer of 8-year-old kids in a sex swing, I gotta be like, what the fuck is the world coming to? Because that's like taking it kind of over the top. I mean, and we came from an era where there was over the top comedy, but it was adults. I mean, you have the Chris Rocks, and you have Richard Pryor, you have Carlos Mancina and Robin Williams, in Broadway and all that. So there's been those edgy comedies, but they're targeted for the adults. Like, how many people are gonna see a title Good Boys, just see kids, like 8-year-old kids on the screen, and the way it's cut for TV versus what you see when you go see the R-rated movie and you actually hear what's in the movie? How many people are gonna make a mistake and like think that they can bring the kids to it? Like the first 5 minutes, you got 8-year-old kids dropping F-bombs.
Yeah, yeah, that could definitely be a problem.
Yeah, it was just like that movie Sausage Party. You know, they put that,
Mm-hmm.
the preview of that in a kids film, so you had all these parents bring their kids thinking that it was like, you know, hey, it's a cute cartoon about, you know, food products, and it was not. So
Let me ask you: was you working at the theater when Sausage Party came out?
yeah.
Now I know you be using lead sources, but I must ask you, General Zod. When Sausage Party came out, did you have a lot of parents walking out with the kids out of the movie?
Not only walking out, they went up to the ticket office and they were like yelling at the ticket people, which was kind of funny because when they sold the ticket, they were like, "This is R-rated. Are you sure? You know, because we gotta tell them, hey, this is an R-rated movie. Do you want to take your kids?" And they were like, they didn't. It still didn't click on them. They're like, "Oh, it's animated, whatever." And then they came out and started yelling at us, and I'm like, "Lady, it's an R-rated film. Like,
Right.
I tried to tell you there was cursing and stuff in there, and you just thought because it was an animation that it was for your kids." And it's like the parents did not scream or look up or, you know, we have stuff at the box office. We have those books where you can read them and you can see what the premise is. Nothing. They just went in blindly. It was there was like 4 or 5 families came out, and we had to give them sorry passes to go see another movie.
I wouldn't have gave them nothing, but that's just me.
You know, man, you've heard my adventures at the theater and how I am, but my managers were there. I had to bite my tongue because they know how I am. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go clean a theater, man. I can't even watch this. Like, I'm a parent. Come on, what parent doesn't scream what their kids watch?
Mm-hmm.
And you have those instances too now where parents can sign. And I kid you not, from when they're 11 to 17, they can sign this book to let them go in by themselves to go see an R-rated movie.
Mm.
So how many kids are going to see this Good Boys, not tell their parents what it is? The parents might check into it a little bit, see some 8-year-old kids, you know, and be like, oh, you know, this just looks like a typical comedy. And then they sign that book, and the next thing you know, you got these kids coming out saying all sorts of things, and they're like, where the hell did you pick that up from? So, so yeah, I think we're on the same page here. Even though it's made by the same people, just to sum it up, are you interested? Do you not care? Do you think this is just another copy and paste of Superbad?
Like I personally, I was never big on comedy movies because I mean, it's just like I guess yeah, since around the American Pie era, all these movies are the same to me. So it's like I'm not really interested in it unless I see something different, like how say for example, Horrible Bosses when that came out, that was different to me. What's that the movie with Rachel McAdams and that what's his name, Jason Sudeikis or whatever, Game Night,
Oh
like
yeah,
yeah, like
dude, that
that,
was so underrated because that shit was so original.
right. So like stuff like that, it got to be different for me to stand out, and like seeing a 8-year-old version of Superbad, I mean, it's just not appealing to me. Like, I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to be trying to hook up with 8-year-old girls? Like, come on.
From what I gathered, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And from what I gathered, it looks like instead of like wanting to sleep with someone because they're 8, so they don't get that concept, they want to just kiss a girl. But I'm just like, I mean, you're like doing super bad and Benjamin Button and just going down, you know. Well, I mean, what comes next after this? Come on.
Right.
You know, so then let's get to the winner, the best one, the best movie in this list because it's about women. Let's get to Booksmart. And LB, you got great sources. Give us a brief synopsis on this award-winning film that critics gave a 93%.
It's basically the female version of Superbad. That's the synopsis. No, it's two students. One is a lesbian. Another is regular. Well, I mean, regular might be the bad word, but well, so they're two high school students are practically losers, and they're graduating, and they realize, hey, we haven't went to any parties, we haven't done anything. So our last night before graduation, we need to go to a party. We need to just go crazy, etc., etc. I mean, that's essentially the story. That's it. Like, is there anything else to add to the synopsis?
No, that you summed it up the best that I could because those were exactly my things in my thoughts. Right, right to a T. When I first watched it and I saw it, you know, LB, I was the guy who saw Dark Phoenix not once but twice to try to give it a chance, and it still crushed my soul the second time around. But we're not talking about that. I'll be putting out that review later. But no, with this one, I tried to go in.
Side note, it's kind of late to put out a Dark Phoenix review, don't you think? Like the movie's flopped hard. Like no one's going to be looking for that.
It's just to be cathartic, you know. I just I just gotta let it all out. I'll be in one video. You know, I gotta cry. I gotta go through the stages of grief. Because for me, coming from an X-Men fan of the movies and the source material, somewhere PB is gonna be shaking his icon right now. Say fucking source material. But like it just failed on every level, and so yeah, I got to vent about it, whether or not anyone watches it. But no, when I went into this LB, I tried to go in with an open mind, and I got to be honest with you, like most people, I had no clue what the premise is. Let's start with the marketing. To you, was this not the most horribly marketed film ever?
I mean, like I said, when I saw it, I never heard of the movie until I saw a review on Double Toasted. They did the review the Wednesday or the Thursday night before the movie came out. And that was the first time I heard of the movie. And I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, okay, this looks cool. And then they talked about the movie. And I was like, okay, so I'll go see it. And yeah, like the marketing was terrible. Like they didn't have the budget to market it like, say, a Superbad. But at the same time, it's just like, man, there was nothing for it out there.
No, nothing. We had a pre-screen. And just picture now, this is what this movie came out a little bit before Avengers Endgame. So no one was even thinking about any other movie besides Endgame to start off with. And you had Captain Marvel still out, you had Shazam, whatever, still playing. So that was the first strike against it. Second strike, we had a pre-screen, right? And I kind of had the gist. What got me interested, weirdly enough, was that two old ladies went to see this movie, and like for some reason, it had a small buzz for the pre-screening where there was a good amount of people. There were like 9 or 10 people who went to the pre-screen. So I was like, oh, okay. You know, kind of left field. Maybe it's one of those independent films because you hear the title Booksmart and you think it's about people studying or, you know, some kind of biopic, you know, something with like some substance to it. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's one of these like independent films that is coming out that's going to surprise everyone and be good. Although I found it weird that the 10 people who came were females. So, you know, but there were also two old ladies, and they go in, literally are in there like 5-10 minutes. They come out with this look on their face, and they're like clearly upset, walk out of the thing. And I'm like, oh, that makes me more interested because I'm like, why are they so pissed off? And so the rest of the people come out and they're talking, and some people like it, some people don't. And I'm like, oh, well, this is now really piqued my interest because I know nothing about this film. So I go in and I watch it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a female super bad. Like, this is like SJW marketing or an SJW movie, pretty much, is how I saw it. Like, just straight up, let's take a concept with all white males and flip it. And you mentioned something when we were talking about it that I found funny. They made the black character in the film the gay character. Am I? uh, Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And not just like, the cool down low, gay best friend, which these movies like to do, uh, but like very, hey, kind of just like,
They made him as feminine and as stereotypically gay as possible.
it was so bad. I'm watching this and I go, wow, this isn't even like in the vein of humor. This is like downright trying to piss people off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so breaking this movie down, and I'm just gonna warn some people here right now. I might give away a spoiler if you have an interest to watch this, but I'm just telling you, don't watch this movie. It's terrible. You'll waste your time. Um, but the journey that they take, is it just me, or when you get to that part and the realization, did you just not get pissed off because it felt like a big waste of time?
Yeah, I mean, what like to me they didn't grow or learn from anything. They went to a party, went about their ways. I promise y'all, like in the chat and with people watching this, it's essentially super bad. Like all the big stuff in super bad that happened, it happened in Booksmart. Like for example, when the cop scene arrest scene with Fogel happened in Booksmart. Um, the liquor store, it happened in Booksmart in a variation. Um, the throwing up in Superbad happened in Booksmart. Like it, it's no creativity, and I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be one of those people that's like anti SJW, but I'm just telling you, the only reason these people were reviewing this movie the way they did is because it was a female Superbad, and they had females doing uncharacteristic things that. Well, I'm not going to speak for every female, but a lot of us know females, and a lot of the stuff that was done in that movie, you ain't hearing about women doing that. So it it's just man, I'm not going to say I hated it. I'm not going to say I disliked it. I thought it was okay, but it's not 90-something% Rotten Tomatoes. It's it's not one of the best movies. It's not deserving of the praise that it received. It's more like if it's a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, I'd say it deserves more of a 45%.
Yeah, and 19K, that's a good point. Bridesmaid was a great original female-led movie. It was, because Bridesmaids, that's some shit that you would see bridesmaids do. I've been to quite a few weddings, and shit like that has happened. Oh my God, my family's weddings, um, you know, we had family members that didn't talk to each other for years. So that shit was pretty accurate. So when I saw that, I could relate. I watched this movie and I'm just thinking, like, I'm trying to think back to high school, and I don't know about you, LB, but I'll be fair, a small majority might have been that way, but no one I hung out with.
Man, like and even with the high school stuff, like I know every high school ain't the same, but man, I mean I went to high school what it was I started high school about 20 years ago, so everything is probably completely different. But the way they had the high school in this movie, it was like the diversity checking the boxes. Like you had the white kid, you had the black kid, you had an Asian kid, you had a Spanish kid, you had the lesbian, you had the gay person, you had the authority figure being a black person. It's just like they checked off all the boxes there, and then they had gender neutral bathrooms. And like I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I've heard of them, but it was like alarming to me to see that. It's like, how do men and women go to the same bathroom together? She's in the bathroom doing whatever she's doing in the stall while men are outside of it talking. And I'm just like, wow. I'm just like, I'm stunned by this. I'm like, this goes on in high schools now? Like, there's places that does this?
I gotta be honest with you. I mean, maybe I'm out of touch with the school system, but in my daughter's school, I have not seen a gender neutral bathroom. But then again, we're in Wisconsin, and I don't think that shit would fly here. But you know, maybe California or one of those
Right.
places where they're all about that life. Maybe you find something like that. But I gotta be honest, like around here, I don't think that shit would fly. I think that that'd be a big news story. You would get some kind of backlash from that. I mean, this was within itself, okay? When you make a comedy that's supposed to be realistic and based in reality, this felt like it was not based in any reality that I know of. You know,
It was essentially what somebody wants the world to be.
yeah, yeah, and I did not get any background on the directors or anything, but was this made by a female director?
Yeah, Olivia Wilde directed it.
Okay, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this has got to be a female director, because there's no way a male director would be like, yeah, let's have gender neutral bathrooms. I
I
mean, that
mean, hey, I don't know. You got these men feminists out there that they got no testosterone.
that is a good point. That is true. You know, and another thing that really pissed me off was like, I'm like, dude, like the journey. There was no journey. I mean, I could have, if I got to where I got at the end of the film, there was kind of some kind of growth or nothing. But you know, meets hot chick, she gives her number, and then that's pretty much cut off. And it's like, okay, I thought she'd like go back and you know there'd be an arc, and she'd realize, oh yeah, I don't have to do this, this, and this. But she really, you know, didn't.
Hey,
There was
you got a
nothing.
super chat, by the way.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get to that. Super chat. Fuck source material. Please continue, LB. I wasn't mentioning source material, PB. God. I was saying personally, I felt like there is no journey because a journey involves you start from point A, you go through B, C, D, you know, and you end up somewhere different by the end of it. And there was no arc. There was no character. I don't think any character in this movie had an arc to speak of. And you watched this too. Did you see anything? I didn't see a character arc for anyone.
I mean, if anyone says there is really not. Like what they feel lame because they didn't party or anything. They end up trying to go to a party, then they graduate. Like the only art they the only thing they learned from this movie is everyone around them ain't as dumb as what they thought they were, and while they all had good grades, they enjoyed high school, while the other two did not. That's the only thing there.
and the two main characters, it still felt like they didn't really enjoy the high school experience. Maybe the one lesbian girl. I just want to highlight something. If there was one good thing that I pulled from this movie, that other chick who's supposed to be the love interest, she was quite hot. Not gonna lie. Like, yes, she was quite hot.
The fake bully.
Yep. And it felt like, the high school thing where like someone's teasing you because they like you kind of a thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
it was,
that was so obvious to me. It's like, okay, she's gonna hook up with a lesbian girl at the end of the movie somehow. It's just like,
yeah, I mean, there was no mystery, there was no wonderment. I was picking scenes going, yep, that's from Superbad. Yep. Well, they're doing this. She's gonna end up with her. I mean, it was just very predictable.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, if women being crude is groundbreaking, then this is the Citizens Kane of filmmaking. This is a modern day Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, because it's just like when you watch this movie, it trends no new ground except for if you play the women card and say, "Oh, it's a bunch of girls." And when I'm reading reviews, did you read some of those reviews that'll be on Rotten Tomato?
I did.
Did you hear the ones where they were like, "It's groundbreaking"? How the fuck
Yeah.
do you use groundbreaking?
Look,
First of all, for a comedy. Secondly, for this.
look. This movie was 2001: A Space Odyssey of comedy.
It was like, dude, man, come on. I know you shill, but really, you're gonna use big words like groundbreaking and it shit. There was a female critic who said that it showed the female condition. I was like, what? Did,
Look, this is like a modern day Godfather. It's Gone with the Wind. It's a Maltese Falcon. I'm telling you, this is like seeing Jaws for the first time.
just like this cracks me up. I mean, because you see the media at their most biased. I mean, could you picture for a second, LB? Could you picture if they actually attacked this movie?
Um, yeah, I mean, I could see them doing it, but at the same time, they the reason they don't do it is because they're afraid to get backlash and get called sexist and all that foolishness. And we're in the era where you must praise women no matter what. So
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
not just women, but the diversity in this movie too.
you know, this movie could have been a lot better if they they could have went, say, the American Pie route with this instead of going the super bad route, and then it would have been it would have been a bit more better for me. Not so much like because I mean like in these movies going the crude stuff there's nothing that could be done that'll make you go wow like when Jim had sex with the pie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
because up to that point, who had sex with a pie in a movie?
right like you can't like too much. There's too much social media. There's too much access to stuff now to be able to do things that'll make you go wow that was shocking. So it's like you got to write a better script because like throwing up while you're before you about to have sex. Wow, that's just amazing. Like wow, I'm amazed. Like come on, man.
I mean, just to start off with, who hasn't seen that in real life? You go to a party, you know, and you hear the stories or something, or the friend who's done it. I mean, there's people who have done that. It's nothing new. But you know, the thing is not so much that they need to do a new shocking thing, like you said. They need to write a more intelligent story. It's getting to a point now where even a comedy has to have some kind of uh, story to it. It's just something that makes it relatable. Therefore, you can laugh because you can go, "Oh shit, yeah, that really could happen in real life. I know, or I had an experience like that." That to me is the best humor. Something that's identifiable, not this over the top stuff that 90% of the population would never do, or makes you go, who does that, you know?
Right. And then like they're talking about Amy Schumer, for example, in the chat. Like she's a perfect example of this trash comedy that's out these days. It's like, hey, look, a big girl doing a bunch of disgusting stuff. Ah ha ha, that's funny. Like, no, it's not funny. It's stupid. And these people keep praising her for doing ridiculous things, like they're talking about her vagina and talking about sex. Like, bruh, you're not a beautiful woman. We don't want to see you talking about this stuff. Find other ways to be funny. But yeah, like I mean, if they wanted to do a female, like you can make a female super bad, right? Like it doesn't mean copy the movie. It means okay, you can use the heart of Superbad. What makes Superbad good? You know what I'm saying? It's not so much from Superbad all of the gags and stuff that made the movie good. What made it good to me was the story that was told, the friendship, and the journey to what happened, and then they learned from what happened. Like this movie, it's not there. There's no heart in it. Like I'm not gonna completely diss the movie. Like they did a good job with cinematography. I thought it was directed okay, but you could tell like it was a first time director doing something because like with the acting, it's just like, come on, man, you could have had them do this again, do this again, do this again. But with that said, it's like, okay, what was the point to this movie? Like just to say, hey, I made a movie. Is that was your point, or did you really want to make a movie that can resonate with people and people can remember it? And with that said, I mean, I'm not a female, but I just don't see how most females could watch this movie and enjoy it because they just being disgusting at points for being disgusting.
I see like a typical female watching this and being like, that is just, I'd never do that. You know, if you're going to do something in this kind of vein, you got to make it identifiable, at least to the audience you're targeting. Okay, if you're targeting a female demographic, then you got to do stuff that females would relate to, therefore they could connect to it. And I mean, don't get me wrong though, I'm not a female, so I don't know. Maybe there were some things in here that's good.
So just think, what are some movies that essentially copied another movie, but added on to it, so it's not a direct copy. Like you could look at, for example, Creed. That's a central copy of what? Of Rocky, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly. But
they added elements to it.
Because you have Rocky Balboa, who's broken down. You have him wrecked in the beginning, and he took Creed under his wing as sort of almost like he felt bad for what happened to his father, and then that built that story. But at the same time, they let you get invested in Creed and his journey while paying respect to the Rocky Balboa character. It was a beautiful build.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm trying to think of comedies that have done that well. I don't know, because most of the comedies that I like were things that I hadn't seen done before, like Wedding Crashers. Really, what was that really a copy of?
Right, exactly.
I didn't see anything like that before that movie came out.
Exactly, it was something unique, and it was a unique comedy movie. It wasn't, hey, let's remake the 40-Year-Old Virgin and call it the 40-Year-Old Bride or something. You know what I'm
saying? or for instance, have you ever seen that movie Waiting?
Waiting?
Yeah, with
Ryan Reynolds?
Yep.
No, I don't like Ryan Reynolds. I avoided him.
Well, it was funny to me because it was all about the food industry and this restaurant and like things that they did to the food and stuff like that, which was hilarious to me because I worked in restaurants for a time, and I know that when you piss off the cook, some of the things that they showed, I mean, they went a little bit extreme with it, but yeah, I've seen like cooks do some shit. So any warning to anyone in the chat: do not mess with the cooks. I've seen them spit in food, drop stuff on the floor, put it back on your plate. I'm just saying, make sure you treat your waiters with respect because them cooks are no joke. And watching that movie, it made me laugh because Ryan Reynolds comes in and says something to the effect of "we have a return" or something like that. And Dane Cook is in the movie, and he plays the pissed off chef, and it was hilarious because the stuff they do to this lady's food, and she eats it. And I mean, it's one of those like gross moments, but it's placed well because it's in the context of the story. And it's basically all about, you know, this waiter's first day and all he goes through and the crazy people that he meets. But it was it was also original because before that I hadn't seen movies like that about the food industry and like how they really got the central people you meet working in a restaurant. You had your stoners and you know you had Ryan Reynolds who played the like person who slept with all the waitresses and things like that. And I mean, you could really go into a restaurant, work there, and pick out those people in that restaurant.
Right.
So, I mean, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, this had nothing like that. There wasn't anything transcending. There wasn't anything different. There wasn't anything that put it above any other movie you saw. You could literally pick out parts in the film where you go, yeah, that's from this, that's from that. I've seen this before. I mean, and I have a feeling that this new movie coming out, even though it's by the creators of Superbad and Neighbors and all of that stuff, and those were funny movies. I don't see them doing anything different except for they're going for the shock factor. Like, oh, it's 8-year-old kids doing it now. Look, it's funny, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they showed a clip of them like running in traffic. That's an exact copy from Dodgeball. You know?
It's like, I mean, like, really, like, no idea is original, but it's like, man, if you're gonna take elements from other movies, expand on it, switch it up. Don't just copy stuff directly. You know what I'm saying? Like, just shame,
Yeah.
man. Hollywood is just so bad right now, man.
I mean, I gotta be honest here. Like, I don't know about you, but 2019 has felt like the year of really depressing movies. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't. We really put Endgame as 2019 because technically it didn't come out in 2018?
Endgame.
Yeah.
Endgame came out April, bruh. What are you talking about?
You know, I'm working 2 jobs, man. That's why I was asking you. I don't want to quote myself.
It came out
Nah.
April 26th.
Man, that time I was working Endgame. My whole life was in the Twilight Zone. Those theaters were so bad, man. They were so bad. I took a shot and I posted it on Twitter. I said, "This is the end game," and all you see is a row full of popcorn bags, um, you know, Twizzlers. I mean, I found $40, just $40, just randomly in the rows. So, I mean, but this year has been terrible, and I kind of wanted to highlight that. Like nothing is coming out that's remotely intriguing. So before we go, because I wanted to make this a quick stream, because once again, I'm sure everyone would be shocked. I will be heading to the theater, and apparently it's apocalypse now over there. I called them. They're like, "Holy shit, Toy Story 4! It's the end of the world. There's droves of people." I'm like, "Why the fuck do I want to rush in then?" I gotta clean those theaters. But they said one of our things, we have a auditorium that holds 100 and something, and there's like 90 something people in there, so it's gonna be a pretty bad day. But I wanted to end with: do you have anything that you see coming out that really piques your interest? That you're like, I gotta see this movie.
No.
Wow. Yeah, that's depressing, man.
Yeah, it
I
is,
got
man.
I got two movies right now that are really on my docket. One is that movie Crawl that's coming out because it's
Mhm.
by Sam Raimi, and I love Sam Raimi. And the person who made the movie Don't Breathe, which I really like that movie, are both directing. Well, the person from Don't Breathe is directing it, and Sam Raimi is writing it. And it's supposed to be about them trapped, and there's giant alligators during like a big ass storm.
Sounds like it's based in Florida.
I believe it is. I mean, I heard that and I saw it, and there's a giant ass like hurricane thing coming through, and they get trapped.
Mm.
Stevie J just put "Look Up, Danger Close." Aussie war movie coming out soon. So I'll check that out, Stevie, when I get off here while I work, because I'm gonna be trying to hide from my managers. So I'll be in the soda room looking this stuff up. Um, so yeah, I got that, and I gotta say, and I wanted to get your take on this, LB. I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about that new Joker movie.
um, for me, like it just looks like a clown movie, and they just happen to call it Joker. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix, he's a very good actor. The director's good. It don't look bad. We'll have to see. This is this is being done by Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers likes to do certain things with DC movies. So I mean, it's just the way and see. I mean, like I said, it just looks like a clown movie that they just happen to call Joker for the sake of calling it Joker. And I'm I probably wait for it to come out on the rental, but like I'm not really excited or intrigued to see the Joker movie.
And Perp listed off some movies. Annabelle, I'm 50-50 on. Spider-Man, I'm 50-50 on because after the end game time zone thing, or time travel, I feel like they're just trying to fix it by saying, "Oh, it's really alternate dimensions." Um, I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
really thrilled.
I mean, as far as Spider Man, I was thinking about this morning. It's like, man, I haven't done any Spider Man videos for the lead up to Spider Man compared to Avengers Endgame and Captain Marvel, where I was doing videos. It's just like it feels like the movie is just there.
Yeah, it's like we got to put something out after the biggest movie ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there. Like it feels like Ant Man and the Wasp after Infinity War. Like, I mean, like I was saying the same thing when Ant Man and the Wasp came out. Like, man, they did not need to put out another movie until Endgame. And right now, I feel like they don't need to put out another movie until next year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've gotten enough of them, and I like Perp's last two ones. Now, did you like, or did you ever see the horror movie Heredity?
Oh, I don't do horror. I avoid it.
Well, it was a really good horror movie. I'm still conflicted about the very end of the movie. Like, I mean, the last like 5 minutes of it was kind of like went like really like mind trip, but leading up to it, it dealt with a lot of cool things like mental illness and how families affect you, and it had a mother-daughter thing, and the daughter was grossly affected by what the mother did, but the mother does something like even crazier, and it dealt with a lot of things with that. So this director has a good eye for visuals and for a kind of unique horror spin.
Mm-hmm.
So or they're coming out with this called Midsummer, which is about a midsummer solstice, but it's like a really weird, trippy kind of thing, and I think it might involve like human sacrifice in there, the way they're marketing it. So it looks really interesting and unique. I'm intrigued to see anything that they put out because I want to see like him go into different areas of horror. I think he's one director that's like breaking new ground and giving us new things we haven't seen. And also, of course, my all-time favorite director, And I know people say Steven Spielberg, whatever, George Lucas, yep, I like them too. But my favorite director is Quentin Tarantino, and I am really excited about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, especially considering that the SJWs had something to say. I loved what Quentin Tarantino said back to them. Because they tried to do the whole thing about the female in the movie, and he I can't remember exactly what was said, and I don't want to misquote it, but we'll leave it there. The interview is up. You can check it out. It's pretty funny because he went along the lines of, I reject your hypothesis, and shut the dude down in like less than a sentence. And I was like, that's Quentin Tarantino, man. Quentin Tarantino is a smart dude.
He is.
You can't argue with that, man. I mean,
he's a notorious liar, but he's a genius when it comes to filmmaking.
He's a genius with his lies too, because he has us all hoping when he tells them your lies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but sometimes I think he rejects her hypothesis. Stevie J said it was gold. He shut down that reporter so quickly. I was just like, damn. I think she sat down after that. She was just like, did this toxic white male just say that to me?
I got to see that. Like, man, like, I'm not trying to go all off topic, but if as a filmmaker, like, what are you, as a journalist, a person who writes stupid opinions for a living, to tell me what I can do with my movie that I'm writing, that I'm directing, that I'm getting funded? What are you? How are you going to tell me what I need to do with it?
Exactly. These journalists, they get on their soapbox, right? And they basically essentially do the same thing we do, LB. You know, we come from different backgrounds. Like me, I've watched a lot of film. I took creative writing courses. I took English lit. I got an associate's degree in mass media and communications. So I know a little something about writing, but I'm not going to sit here and argue with a film director whose whole vocation and being for what? How many years has Quentin Tarantino been doing movies? I'm not going to tell him, you know, with this, you should have done this. Nah, man, I don't make movies. I can't tell you from a film perspective anything. You know, I could tell you what I look for as far as story structure and things like that, but I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, I understand how he was thinking when he wrote it, and like, oh yeah, this, and this. Nah, man, I'm just going to ask a question about the film and then write an article. That's the people, see, directors need to do this. They pander and they get scared because they're scared of what people are going to write, and it's just like, who cares about what they're going to write about you? At the end of the day, it's going to be who goes and watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have been told a movie is bad, and then you're like, oh, I got to go see it? How many people were making videos day in and day out about Captain Marvel, and all of the articles coming out about Brie Larson? Did that affect the sales, LB?
No. I mean,
still made $1 billion. Not a damn thing I said. Keep some gamers. None of them. Nothing we said affected that movie.
And that's the thing. I mean, we could look at it that way. I mean, I know the media is going to spin it like, hey, Captain Marvel. I'm just using Captain Marvel as an example. Captain Marvel shut down the trolls. Okay. But at the same time, say Once Upon a Time in America, it does say it makes $1 billion for Quentin Tarantino. Then the YouTubers will turn around and say, hey, Quentin Tarantino scoffed at diversity. Still made $1 billion. It can go both ways. Like that whole discussion about trolls and using diversity and all that, that type of thing. It's like, it's just narratives all in all. It's like no one on YouTube has a reach that mainstream media channels have. So it's like you can't really sway the general audience.
No, because how many people watch Oprah, or I don't think Oprah's on anymore, but the View or any of those, or the talk shows or Regis, or they're not calling it Regis anymore. God, I feel like I'm so old. They call it what now? Kelly? Who's the chick now? Kelly?
Now, like for example, this thing, like I know we're getting on a tangent, but like CNN, their ratings are low, but their shows still average over 1 million viewers per day, like each show, like the main shows. So how many YouTubers that was dissing Captain Marvel were getting 1 million views in a day?
I
Like,
sure shit didn't.
right, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can voice our opinions against them, but we don't have that kind of sway. Just like the media, if they want to talk about movies that didn't have diversity, blah blah blah, on blog websites, they don't have that kind of sway to make somebody not go see a movie because this movie didn't have 10 black men and 5 white women and 6 Asian people in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, these battles are just battles for revenue. That's all it is. But
yeah, I mean, that's really, it's getting that hot button issue, or the clicks, as we like to say. And, even on our side, we go the opposite way, because, a lot of people will be like, oh, did you see how Quentin Tarantino, using your scenario, Quentin Tarantino made 1 million, man. He shut the SJWs down.
right.
Just that'll be, I guarantee you, there'll be a ton of videos about that once this movie comes out, because people were covering, how many YouTube channels covered that interview between Quentin Tarantino and that reporter. I
This is
mean,
it's the first time I actually heard of. I need to go look it up.
yeah, I'm pretty sure, one of the big people covered that. I want to say John Talks, but I'm not positive where I saw it from. But, you know, so eventually, a lot of people are going to cover, if this movie does really well, they're going to be like, oh, Quentin Tarantino doesn't give a crap about the SJW agenda. You can already hear the spin that's going to be played off of that, So, I mean, both sides do it. It's just a matter of we're all in it for the audience,
Like
essentially.
if
That
for example, if Once Upon a Time in America not even so much underperformed, but if it made, say, a little bit under what his last movie made opening weekend, these articles going to be out on Monday. Quentin Tarantino diversity wins again. They didn't show up for the movie because there wasn't enough diversity. They'll come up with some kind of articles for that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm curious to see the reviews, because Quentin Tarantino, most of his movies get positive reviews. So I'm wondering, after this, if you're gonna see a bunch of reviews coming out, knocking the movie. Of course, not giving us any scenes or context to why they don't like the movie. Just, oh, we don't like what he did with his female character. She's so held back, and look at these males, and Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio chauvinistic, and what happened to them, blah blah blah. And I mean, come on, people. Leo wants to save nature. He took his funds from the Revenant and put it towards some kind of thing. I forgot what it was, but it was a big announcement he made when he got his award finally. Because how many years did he get snubbed? I mean, it's all politics. So, yeah, I wanted to keep this about an hour. So I'm at 58 minutes. I'm doing pretty good. But, yeah, I just wanted to have you on and have a talk about this, because, I wanted to have good sources for this one.
Well, I appreciate you thinking of me for once.
No, and I like to do a lot more of these talks, because LB, you have a good insight. I don't know if you noticed, you might be a little shocked. Sometimes I tend to get pissed off and go a bit on a tangent.
I never noticed that. I mean, that's news to me.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's shocking, but how level-headed I am. Sometimes I fly off the handle. But I wanted to
Oh,
thank.
by the way, side note before I forget, I don't mean to cut you off, but because I'm in the chat, and your category for this video is in film and animation. It should be in entertainment.
Yeah, I meant because when you set it for one thing, whenever you go to a stream, it keeps it on the same category. So I
Yeah,
forgot to.
yeah, I know, I see that. You got to
I'm gonna
change all this stuff to entertainment.
yeah, I'm gonna go and redo that. It's just such a long process. I got like 200 and something videos now.
I mean, you can bulk do it, like mass do it at once.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. The technology, man. The technology always trips me up.
Yeah, I see.
But anyways, it's about that time for me to head into work and bid you people a good adieu. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a hour-long thing. I will be doing the late night stream with PB and LB if you're available. We could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm really evaluating how many people I put on because my God.
Hey, man, that's a whole other discussion for a non-live stream.
We will save that for another one. But anyways, thank you everybody who was watching. We were up to like 8 people in midday. That's not too bad. And our normal people that come in. Thank you, Senate, Pop Culture, Stevie J, Reviews, Perp. I'm going back through the list here. Goldfinger, Kermit, AML, and 19K Fox. Thank you everybody else who was in there that I may have. Oh, Dave, thank you, Dave, for stopping by, and anybody else. I appreciate having you on the channel just for a quick discussion, or as quick as it is on my channel, anyways. And we'll see you again tonight in the Fandom Zone for our normal wacky midnight shenanigans. Don't know what the topic is, but I'm sure while I'm not doing my job, I'll figure it out. So go ahead, LB. Plug your channel. Let them know where they can make a lonely man less lonely.
Well, folks, if you ain't doing nothing at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I will be doing a live stream, which is going to be a regular live stream. I think it'll be our third or fourth episode. It'll be some black guys in the drunk with me, drunk 3PO, Fatal J, Lord Callus, and whoever else is black that managed to somehow get into the chat. So we'll be talking about the regular stuff and whatever the chat wants to ask us that they're scared to ask black people. It'll be real black entertainment ignorance going on there. But other than that, yeah, man, you can catch me on the Lonely Banter, y'all. I'm pretty sure all of y'all already know because I'm always with the General Zod. So that's
I
it.
know. I'm starting to think like with the late night subtitle, I gotta just put instead of guest, just put Wiz, PB, Zod, LB, Stevie J. You guys are like the staple on the channel now. So I appreciate having you on the channel. I appreciate everyone in the chat and everyone who's on the channel. And yeah, I'm going to be doing more of these random talks. So, hit those notifications so that you know when I go live because damn a schedule, we don't have them in the Fandom Zone. I just kind of go off a whim and see what lands. I try to pick a good time where like big people are not streaming. Go in between there. So anyways, thank you very much. And as always, everybody in the chat and everybody who will watch, don't forget, kneel before Zod.
Thanks for coming.